Now that piece of equipment there, dear listener, is what we'd normally use to broadcast back up to somewhere up there. But as we know, we're not doing it this year. These things happen. Let's get on with another one of our mountain memories here on Manx Radio, sponsored by Kawasaki K Options. With a TT career that goes back about 12 years, maybe 13 years, a young man came to the Isle of Man. He was in the R6 Cup for a while. Now, that was fun, wasn't it? That was banging old fairings. And it's James Hillier who joins us now. James, hello. How's things in lockdown?
Not too bad, considering, to be honest. We're just itching to get out on a motorbike, you know. It's that's the worst bit, is just being settling in the garage, but being able to physically get out and ride them is what I'm missing. So we just got to wait patiently until that day comes.
Let's go back to 2008, making a jump from the short circuits, which you're pretty darn good at, to be fair, and then coming to the Isle of Man TT. Now, at that time, there was a big drive to get young fellas like yourself at that time to come to the Isle of Man. And what kind of sealed it for you to come here?
I think it was always something I wanted to do. And if I'm honest, I was probably still a little young. I was only 22 in my first year there. And going back, I probably would have taught myself out of it for a couple of years. But and I'm probably quite proud of how relatively sensible I was for that age, going to such a big race, you know, with such high risk. But you know, I never put a lot of pressure on myself to win there and get to the sharp end. I just kind of learned steady, and here we are. You know, we're still there. I think it took a good sort of 4 or 5 years for me to really bump up and sort of open the door to the sharp end lap times. But yeah, it was never going to be a sort of in and out type of thing for me. I was going in to do it properly and learn it and take my time. Yeah, I only did the 600 in year one. So we finished both. Only just finished the second race, I think, because I actually jumped off at Signpost, battling with Jamie Robinson to win over the line, be the first bike over the line. So, but I think it was well, I know it was 16th and 19th, and we did 119.6 or something. Was my best lap of the fortnight on a 600, which was fairly good back then. But that was with the Jackson brothers and Martin Bullock. They kind of took me under their wing a little, and yeah, I still remember actually the first lap, you know, and I don't think anyone ever forgets that, the first ever experience with the new, you know, as a newcomer being sort of set free is still something I envy now. The newcomers that go, and that first lap they get is something that will stay with you forever.
But you don't want that feeling again, do you, of being a newcomer?
No, it's, you know, because they, you know, you find yourself worrying about a lot of things you probably don't need to, and don't worry about the things that you do need to. So it's a very steep learning curve initially when learning that course.
So you did your first year, and then you came back the next year with a bit of Kawasaki backing, and one of the longest associations with one manufacturer, the TT, you've had for a long time.
Yeah, and it just sort of, I mean, so I didn't have any other options. I didn't really look for any other options. It just fell into place to go race in there, and with what had fallen in at the time with build-based Kawasaki through Bournemouth Kawasaki and Peter Exton's support for 09. So we were actually on the red build-based Kawasaki's, and then 2010. You know, it's certainly an eye-opener, actually. Just touching on going from the 600 up to the 1000cc was quite a jump. So a bit of an eye-opener, but yeah, I just progressed steady and tried to sort of pick away. And there was a couple of 2 years, I think I was stuck around 128 mile an hour, and I never really progressed, although I felt I was getting faster. The times didn't come, and then we took a big jump the year, I don't remember which year, maybe, but yeah, it was never a rush. We kind of just went there to learn and build and see what we could do.
Going back to that, you're saying about when your speed jumped up. I mean, that year when you followed John McGinnis around, how much did you learn from the 23-time winner? I mean, what else could you learn? I mean, what went through your mind when you're behind him? Right, well, what am I going to pick up here?
Well,
Look at the smile on your face.
yeah, I remember it really vividly. And he passed me actually. It was into Ballacrane, into the Glen Helen section. I thought if I can just hang with him here for out to Cronkivody and see where we're at, and learn a little bit. And it was nothing too dissimilar. It was just although we went faster, it kind of went almost back a gear where we were smoother. I was kind of accelerating and braking, whereas following John that year, I just learned to kind of roll a little bit earlier maybe, but less brake, carry the momentum, and it actually became a little bit easier, even though it got faster. And for that we got through Glen Helen. Then I thought, right, see if I can hang with him to like Solby. And then next thing I'd done a lap. I thought, well, if I've done one lap, I can do another lap with him. And John almost did the work for me, to be honest. And I just had to follow on and kind of take me to that next zone of comfort level, because initially I was out of my comfort zone, but after a lap it became more normal, and then never really looked back. So it was, but I honestly had to sort of keep pinching myself. That was really a big year for me, and that race in particular was probably more than anything proved to myself that I could do what was needed to run at the sharp end.
Having a TT win in the bank's all right as well, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's better than none, but it's still. And being honest, it's definitely nice to have one, but it's not the one I want. I don't want to sound ungrateful for that. For me, the second place in the 15 senior TT means more, and I have a lot more pride in that result than the win in the lightweight class, simply because of that was a 4-lap sprint, that race in 15. John cleared off and showed us all the way home, and no one saw him which way he went. And
15 seconds, that's all it was between us at the end.
Yeah, but I didn't. Maybe it's not that much. He'd have rolled though. He won the race. He won that race on lap one,
yeah.
and controlled it. And I think that's John's experience and knowledge of. I think it'd be foolish to kind of try and win by too much. But that was probably to date, that was my fondest TT sort of achievement and memory is 15, second place in 15.
Riding for the Bournemouth Kawasaki team for so many years, you must have some fantastic memories. I'm sure some you can't tell us, and some that you probably can tell us. Some of that really sticks in your mind. I'm sure you guys are Phil, isn't it, that looks after you, isn't it, and all them boys?
Yeah, it was. We went right from sort of going back to the beginning. We didn't really know what we were doing, to be honest. We had a motorhome that was absolutely full to the brim and way overweight. If we got pulled, and it was just what we had and what we worked with, and the bikes were constantly being in the past recent years, the bikes would arrive ready, but in the early years the bikes were constantly changing with. We were trying to find places to get the fuel tanks modified and bits and pieces made because parts were not strong enough, or so loads of little stories and good memories, to be honest. It was I think that's especially last year we learned everything together. I learned as a rider, I learned how the team works and what the team needs. They learned kind of what I needed, and it took a lot of worry and any extra concern away, because we had a lot of faith in. Well, I had, for a rider, it's very important to have that faith in your team. So, which is probably why it took so long for me to, I hadn't moved sooner, and I was so comfortable where I was. And being truthfully honest, I didn't really have a great reason or want to change team other than to tick the box and try something different, because I don't want to, the clock's ticking, and I just really wanted to step out the comfort zone and into something new. So, but yeah, definitely lots of good times. We and tough times. Road racing isn't easy at times with, certain experiences, but we've been through it together and achieved some great things and a very good tally of consistent finishes, actually.
Definitely sounds like it was a wrench leaving the Bournemouth Kawasaki team then for you.
Yeah, it was hard, and something nearly happened a couple of years ago, and it sort of did, and then I had to pull back and change, and I just it wasn't quite right. So, and I think in the end I had to accept that wherever I go, it's never going to feel right. I had to sort of force it, and and I would probably come onto the OMG racing with shortly, but I had to force that move, to force myself a little bit out of what I wanted to do, just to try it, and it was looking good for this year.
Tell us about some of your Isle of Man heroes, somebody that sticks in your mind. I mean, because you know about the sport. I mean, your family follow you everywhere. They're important too. We know that, your business, etc. But let's look at the Isle of Man memories that people. You look back on and you think, God, blimey, how did they ride them speeds? I mean, I've got a little stat here. Mick Grant was the first big win at the 75 senior TT. I mean, lapping at those sorts of speeds they were lapping on those tyres and those brakes. And you go back even further back, to the early days of Halewood and Agostini. Now, can you imagine? I mean, you guys are riding the classic bikes now. Can you imagine riding those?
No, if I did have a time machine, I know where I'd be going exactly, and it would be June pretty much most years, I think, to the Isle of Man just to witness, because, there is footage of them, but it's not true. Like now we get the real high res slow motions and you can just really appreciate what is going on. But the sort of old school, slightly fast forward black and white pics don't give it any just true justice, really. And, I think, they were men back then. They were true men, that would wrestle them old things around, and even the mechanics building them, because they weren't the most reliable of bikes. It's a true sort of.
They were all great engineers, weren't they?
Yeah, massive. And then the pilots obviously riding them had to preserve them and look after them to get them home. But yeah, I think that's probably what really is so special about the TT is the massive array of differences, over the years, but the track's pretty much stayed the same, and something that really appeals to me is sort of being part of that history that it has and is making.
Well, let's hope we make more history. Not this year, obviously, which is a bit of a shame. Hopefully for next year, hopefully we get all this. James, I know you're a busy man. You've got your business to run and everything as well. Best of luck when you do manage to get back on the bike, and I'm sure you're going to make some more TT memories here on our island. So, James Hillier, thank you very much for your time, and all the best, and stay safe.
Thank you very much.